It's that time of year again, where we all huddle up around our loved ones and celebrate the time with good food, music, and hangovers. But for me, I'm trying to finish digitizing all my tapes. Let me tell you about my Christmas 20-something years ago. This is a story about a boy and his introduction to video games. One console and one game that tested me. See, I asked that Santa guy for a Nintendo 64. I was obsessed with my cousin's N64 every time I'd visit. That long Christmas Eve night took its sweet time reaching midnight. The weird thing was, mine could play CDs. So this Nintendo, along with 4 games, was smuggled over from the North Pole. San Francisco Rush was the first game I booted up. I've always enjoyed anything to do with cars, so not a bad start. Racing games will forever be a top-tier genre for me. I enjoyed it as a kid, and I can see why, but I got tired of it quickly. I recently found out that the PS1 port isn't generally well liked, as it's underwhelming with 4 tracks and 4 vehicles only. But I was able to look past these flaws and slippery controls back then.
It's dangerous!
Afterwards, I tried Namco Museum Volume 1. As an adult, this game is awesome, but as a kid, I couldn't speak much English, and I had just started to learn how to read. I liked the vibe perusing this virtual museum, however, I mostly played classic Pac-Man and Rally X. Then, a game that established my interest in platformers, Bubsy 3D. Yeah, don't worry, this isn't gonna be the game that I'm gonna focus on. The second I got my hands on Crash and Spyro, I forgot all about this game. And lastly, the game I want to talk about. Even I knew how to read this one back then. The amount of nostalgia I get mentioning Driver is enough to get me to drone on about how impactful it was. A lot of my time was spent in Take-A-Ride. In fact, it's the only thing I played for weeks. You could drive anywhere in the map, get into trouble, explore the cities. It was simple fun. Since only Miami and San Francisco were my options, I slightly preferred San Francisco during these playthroughs. Then, I tried the survival mode. The cops are jacked up in speed and your only objective is to last as long as you can. Through this mode, I discovered the film director option. The game allowed you to edit a replay of what you just played, putting the camera anywhere you wanted. In fact, now that I think about it, it's probably what planted the creative seed. So finally, I decided to try this undercover mode. I like that a small movie tells a short story about some cop named Tanner,
But no one's gonna know except me.
Oh God, what the hell is this? I understood that I had a time limit and that I needed to perform these moves, but can someone tell me what the f*** a slalom is? Slalom? Slalom?
Maybe I'll give you a call when I need a ride to the grocery store.
I was burnt out from failing undercover so much. I called it a night and tried to think of something. I was determined to beat that level, but I just needed to figure out what certain moves were. One fateful morning, I decided to comb through every option in the main menu, and when I got to these cones, I didn't think much of them. Would you look at that? How the fuck? Finally, I know what I have to do.
You know, you're lucky I was even able to snag one of these. With the whole Christmas rush, it's making this business more difficult than it needs to be. Well, anyways, here she is. Now, I know it's not exactly what you requested. It's better, actually. Okay, I'm sorry. I can tell you're silent but deadly. Feel free to take her for a test drive. Yeah, that's a Mercedes GTR. Feel that hum of that 12-volt motor. You can't charge these bad boys. USB-C? No, we're talking about old school auxiliary cables, okay? We're talking about real off-road shit. We're talking about monster trucks. We're talking about GTOs, BMWs, PhD, and GTR. So it's the same price as discussed. Pleasure doing business. Hey! See you, space cowboy.
You the worst driver I've ever seen.
When I finally beat this thing, I was able to loosely follow an engrossing story that supplies a 1970s action-adventure style backdrop through 4 cities across the United States. I'm aware this game was inspired by the Walter Hill film, The Driver, but as a 5-6-year-old kid, this was the best thing for a while. Throughout the winter and the following years, I enjoyed many hours with this game. Oh yeah, and the first level isn't even the hardest level in the game. I can never beat it. I just couldn't make it past President's Run, the final level. Talk about a hard-ass game. Alas, time passed. The misconception of my PlayStation being a Nintendo didn't just influence my taste growing up, it helped shape me for who I am today. Without getting spoiled by my parents, I would have never known about many of these games.
I'm the pawn they sent here to save your worthless butt.
The greatest mistake of all time was introducing me to the wrong console. No. The greatest mistake was introducing me to the greatest console. Alright then, my fellow nerds. This is where we part ways. Have a good holiday season. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Your favorite astronaut, the Voyager.
¿Para qué caminar el camino? ¿Para qué la nostalgia en la flor? ¿Para qué andar buscando el destino? ¿Para qué acompañar tu canción? Al camino por camino y al amor por